You just start running the heater in the morning so your body can warm up.
Ooh, yeah, I haven't been able to like take my hot shower beforehand. That like loosens everything up.
Yeah, I have to stretch in the shower in the mornings now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, poor little old lady bodies.
I know.
It's all right. We still got it. We're just like Yoda.
Still got it. Just takes a little longer to get there.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We might limp on the way to the mats, but once we start going.
Once we're warm, you fucked.
Yeah. Well, hello, guys.
Hello.
This is another Two Straws, and we had some amazing fights this weekend.
We did. They were making up for last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bit of a snooze fest, but this one was very exciting. I actually watched and was not compelled to scroll.
Oh, nice.
I know.
You weren't candy crushing while watching Paddy Pimblett crush Chandler?
Every once in a while. But I refrained for the most part on the main card.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You got a candy crush during the commercials. They're the same fucking commercials every time.
Oh, my God.
I hate it.
So obnoxious.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
And especially when they have like the really annoying ones, like the Burger King ones with a guy who can't sing. Because this is
Please stop. This was never a good commercial.
Yeah,
I hope they're getting paid a lot for that ad space.
me too. There was this
excruciating.
random commercial that me and Adam loved when we were living in New York, and it was like, I forget what the commercial was for, but the chick goes, "Babe," and her husband's, it was a yogurt commercial. Her husband was stealing her key lime yogurt because it was so good.
Wow.
And so she goes, "Babe," and then they cut to the husband and they cut back to her and she's doing it on the other side. And it became this running joke. And then I met the guy in the commercial at my job. I was so amped for him. I was like,
Did you do the line?
Yeah. I was like, it's my favorite commercial. He never noticed that it was like that.
You had to say the babe.
Yeah. Babe. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna look for that next time." It was a really bad cut. Yeah, no continuity in the side of her face that was making the smirk. So
Kind of like Pretty Woman with the pancake and the croissant.
no, what happened with that?
Oh my God, it's like one of the worst like continuity kind of things in a scene that you've ever seen. So it's the first night after Pretty Woman and Edward have their first tryst in the sack. Ooh. And she comes out with her big old red hair. She's not wearing the blonde wig anymore. And she sits down at the table and she starts asking him questions, and she's eating a croissant at first, and she's eating the croissant, and then they switch to him and he says something, they switch back to her and she's eating a pancake.
Oh shit.
Yes.
That's great.
It's really bad. There's another one I actually just noticed. It's with it's with her friend Kit DeLuca when she's writing with the lipstick on the pizza board, which is like with Bev, Will, Bev, Risher, whatever it is, like the location she's at. And they cut to the scene where she's writing it down and it's like a straight line. And then the next scene, it's like longer words and they're like diagonal. There was just a lot of details that were missed in that movie. Still a great movie. One of my favorites.
That. Yeah, they're more thinking about, the Pretty Woman and her getting her
Pretty Woman. Oh, love it. It's a classic. I love it.
Well, we had some pretty fights last night at UFC 314. Should we start with the main event?
I mean, I think we could.
Yeah, let's do it. I was really excited for Volk's comeback, but also for the possibility of Diego Lopes just being like this super likable champion. Like
with a crazy 2-year trajectory from entering the UFC to championship title contention. It's crazy.
Yeah, you never see that in that weight class. Like you see it at 205, you see it at heavyweight, even at 185, but you never see it at the lower weight classes where there's so many people that can take you out from like below ranked number 15 and above. It's really crazy that he was able to string together all those wins, especially after his first fight coming into the UFC was a loss. He was able to just bounce back from that and become a superstar.
Yeah, he's so likable. He's so entertaining. In this fight, though, you definitely saw the experience factor.
Yes.
You saw Volkanovski. And you know what? MMA fans, critics, come on, guys. It's the Volk. Give him a break. If you look at his body of work, and then yes, I know that he has 2 glaring knockouts, but if you look at the circumstances with those knockouts, you gotta say like, hey, maybe that was the case, which it was.
Yeah.
He's still got it. He's still, in his prime. He's still a, championship caliber, as he showed last night. But so many people were harping on his past performances. He took a short notice fight against Makhachev. He got knocked out. And then he took a really close fight after being knocked out so badly against a power hitter. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a recipe for disaster. So I'm glad that he took the time off. He let his body heal. He had a reset, and he came back in there looking like himself.
Yeah, he only had 3 months between getting knocked the fuck out by Islam Makhachev. Short notice, by the way. He only had 3 months in between that and fighting Ilia Topuria.
That's stupid.
Someone who's knocked out everyone up until that point.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid, but we love Volk, and Volk loves to entertain, and that's why he did stupid things. It's just part of the game. So he finally took more than a year off after that. I think that was really good for his physical and mental health, because he was talking about, having really dark thoughts when he was out of the cage, when he didn't have something to prepare for. And that's something that a lot of us get caught in. It sucks, but like, we're workaholics. We all love to have the next gig lined up, and when it isn't, you get kind of anxious, and he's expressed that. But I think in this year, he's been able to work through that, and he looked fresh. He looked like a new Volkanovski. He looked like his old self before he got knocked out twice. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. He said that he debunked the over 35 curse, which I think is just baloney. Like, over 35, it doesn't matter. It really depends on the athlete and their chin, their conditioning, how their body's holding up.
Their style of fighting.
Yeah, like injuries. Are they healing? Are you recovering properly? Like, there's a lot that can really push that envelope and allow you to still perform at your prime when you're past most other people's primes.
And it's really hard to put it, though, like all of these statistics, it's individualized.
Yeah,
so
you can't put it in an AI machine.
You cannot. You just can't. I was doing my Penne's picks on my OF Live on Friday.
Penne's picks.
And by the way, I've got to say, your girl was pretty spot on. I missed 2. I picked the preliminary and the main card, and I missed 2 fights.
Dang. Which fights did you miss?
I picked Yan. I thought that she would be able to keep it standing and keep the distance. I know, you did. And then I picked Pitbull winning by decision.
Yeah, I picked Pitbull too.
Yair just completely shut him down.
Yeah.
It was a tough one, and I kind of forget how, like, the size difference, and I forget how much Yair has, like, really grown into himself and has filled in a lot of gaps. So he was very impressive last night.
Yeah, I was surprised. And I was also surprised how kind of shell-shocked Pitbull looked. Like, it looked like he was a little, not himself, right? Like, he wasn't as aggressive as he could have been. Maybe it was the kicks. Maybe it was the transition to the UFC. Maybe it was all the expectations put on him or the doubts or whatever. But I think whenever someone comes in as like an ambassador of the people fighting outside of the UFC, like, his entire career has been outside of UFC, but he's always been considered one of the best. One of the people, there's a handful of people who still impress, and people are like, man, if UFC did like a UFC Bellator card or a UFC Risen card or something like that, these guys might be able to win, and he's always been one of them. So that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
For sure. And I still think that he's a great addition to the UFC, and I still think that he does well there. I think it was a tough matchup, and I saw the first round being the most challenging because Yair comes out so strong with those big kicks, and he throws so much power. But Patricio he had some moments of success with a takedown, with a couple power shots, but for the most part, he was staring in the mirror, and he wasn't able to get those reads, and he was staying just so far outside and allowing those kicks to really stop him.
Yeah, Yair looked on form, and usually you see him break a little bit
Yes.
after a big takedown. Like after that takedown, I think it was the first round at the very end. I was like, oh shit! Like if he allows Pitbull to get right back there in the beginning of the second, this might go Pitbull's way. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He was fast. He was on his bike. He was hitting and running. And when he would hit, he would make it count. That first head kick he landed, I thought it was over.
Ooh.
That like he kind of like dipped, chambered, and then stood up with the head kick right as Pitbull was probably about to throw like a big loop-in like hook or something, landed right on the side of his head. I thought it was over.
He ate it though.
I'm like, that boy got a chin.
Wow.
Wow.
No, there were some shots that Pitbull took that were just pretty impressive.
Yeah, right. But I was really impressed with Yair because, like we said last week, I've been feeling like he's on the decline. Like he's people are figuring him out. He's such a tricky fighter. Whenever you have a tricky fighter that starts to get figured out, they have to learn new tricks. They have to start tightening up the fundamentals and getting better in the boring areas. And I didn't see him doing that. So I feel like he went back to the drawing board and he like worked on some things and it came out in this fight.
It's always important to be a student of the sport, and that's what we're seeing in Yair.
Yeah, no, it was a really good showing by Yair. And then another fight that we didn't pick as a lock, but I was pretty sure was going to go the way it went. Paddy Pimblett just destroyed Micheal Chandler.
Listen, I feel like if we had seen this fight a few years ago, the version of Mike Chandler would have been different. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the kind of matchup that Micheal Chandler usually thrives in, and we saw in the first round him having some success, but we saw it quickly start going the other way. Paddy Pimblett is improving and making things work for himself. I mean, the technique is still not great, but I'm sorry, I don't mean that in a bad way or a mean way. It's not necessarily technically sound, but he makes it work for him. And his style is a bit quirky. Again, I
love the polite shade you're throwing.
I'm not meaning to throw shade. But he makes things work for himself, whereas I feel like if other people had his style, it wouldn't work for them.
Yeah, no. For sure. And I think part of it is his weight cut.
He is huge.
He should patent and sell his weight cut routine when he retires because he gets so big in between fights. Right now he's been a little more chill with it. Yeah. He hasn't been becoming obese, but he used to be able to do that. Now he's staying at a normal weight, but he gets still pretty big in between fights. He cuts down. He looks like a POW when he weighs in. And then he rehydrates to almost the same size he was during fight camp. And Micheal Chandler is not a small guy. He looked tiny in there.
He did.
He looked like a little insect, like a little roly-poly. Like he looked
kegerator.
Yeah. He looked like a little bouncing ball. He looked so small in comparison to Paddy. And you can see the difference. Like when he would throw, he doesn't care. He's just throwing his limbs like a baseball bat. Like those calf kicks he was throwing. A lot of them probably hurt. But he didn't care because he has the bigger calf. You know, he has a bigger bone in his leg.
He knows his bones are going to win.
His bones are more dense than a lot of these guys. You can see it on his head size, you know? Like, that's the head size of a guy with a big-ass skeleton. So,
we saw it when he weighed in. We saw all the bones. You can see very big skeleton.
Bones are like, here.
And they're sharp.
Oh, man. I would hate to fight someone like that because it's also that style that we've been talking about, too. The Rodriguez Duplessis, the Mackenzie Dern, the people who just throw with reckless abandon because they're not worried about what happens afterwards. They're throwing their entire weight into this. And with Paddy, he's so good on the ground that a lot of people are going to plan to avoid that part. They're going to avoid the ground game. I mean, he did to Micheal Chandler what no one else has done. Mm-hmm. And that's the most impressive thing. If you look at the people who beat Micheal Chandler, they weren't able to get on top of him and get a TKO, like a ground and pound finish. And to be able to hold mount like that is really impressive against a guy who is scrambly, who has been doing this all his life, all his career, working on get-ups. He was able to control him and keep him in a place where he gets TKO.
Yeah, it was impressive. Do you think his call out to the top 4 or 5 in the division is warranted now?
Who did he call out?
He was calling out Oliveira. He was calling out Gaethje. He was calling out Poirier. Just basically calling everybody in the top of the division. He wants to earn that title shot and he wants to do it fast.
I think it's perfect. I think this was the gateway fight to those guys, and he wasn't going to get any of those names without beating Micheal Chandler first.
But do you think it's warranted because Chandler has been on such a decline
against those guys? So I think it's warranted that he fights anyone that Micheal Chandler has just lost to. Mm-hmm. I think that's warranted because then we can see what happens. And like I said, no one has really been able to dismantle Micheal Chandler the way that he did. Granted, he's had a long time off. He was waiting for that Conor McGregor fight. And I'm kind of glad that didn't happen because who knows what that would have looked like. But I feel like all those fights make sense just because Chandler has been hiding in the top 5 since he beat Dan Hooker. Like, he beat Dan Hooker. He was able to fight for the title. He was able to fight all the people who are next in line. He got a gimme fight with the Tony Ferguson matchup. Like, he's been able to hide out in the top for a long time. Now, you're going to have other people getting in there. You're going to have other people who are able to break through that mold. And a lot of people aren't able to get past Oliveira, Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. Like, they stop all the prospects from getting to the title shot. So I feel like it's warranted that he at least gets to challenge one of those guys. And if he beats him, why not? Who else are we going to have aside from Sarukian or Ilia Topuria to fight for the title?
Yeah, fair enough.
And Sarukian's still on punishment, I believe.
He's on the naughty list. It's going to be a full-on year. Yeah, I wonder if they would make that matchup. I wonder what matchups it's going to be. It'll be exciting. If nothing else, Paddy Pimblett is great at promoting a fight. Yeah. It's always entertaining. People show up to see him win or lose. He's become a pretty polarizing figure, and so I'll tune in to watch him fight.
Do you think he finally gets to fight Ilia Topuria?
No. I don't think they'll do that.
Now that he's moved up?
I don't know if they'll do that one right away. No, that's true. That's true. But I think he has his heart set on getting that title fight or that number 1 contention fight.
And who's the number 1 right now? It's Arman.
The number 1 is still Sarukian.
Okay.
And then we have... Wait, I'm on the pound for pound. And then we have Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, Chandler. But I'm pretty sure that's going to drop. And then
Paddy will probably take his spot.
Yeah, we'll see a big jump.
Interesting. So did you see Colby Covington talking shit to him at the post-fight?
I did. That would be a really crazy build up to a fight promotion. That would be so obnoxious. I think we would all be fried.
Yeah. But we've had less. We've had more obnoxious build ups. So I wouldn't be surprised either.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it.
No.
I wouldn't. I would like to see the fight, I guess. I would tune in for that fight.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the Ilia Topuria one would be interesting because they have that whole hand sanitizer thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened, but he kept screaming, "Hand sanitizer, boy."
Yeah, I don't remember what it was about. I just remember someone got thrown.
It was hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hand sanitizer. That's what happened. I think that's everything. That's all it was. But it would be fun for them to use that. I mean, throwing hand sanitizer is a little classier than throwing a dolly.
Fair.
And they've used that.
And we saw, yes, we've seen that many times. So they love it when people throw things.
They love it.
Next time you need to throw things.
Oh,
that's what you've been missing.
I know.
That's it.
No, girl, you know black fighters can't throw things.
I mean, they
just call us ghetto and thugs. Get this animal out of here. So
no.
Racist. So racist. I'll tell my opponent to throw something at me. Like, here, do it. I won't get mad. I promise. I'll duck. You have to do
just
it.
Put it on
do
paper.
It.
Put it on paper.
Do it for me. Do it for us. What did you think about Jean Silva versus Bryce Mitchell?
Ooh.
What a fucking fight.
What a maniac.
Yeah.
He fought such a good fight. He looks so comfortable out there. He looks like he can just control the entire pace and energy of the fight. He just looks so confident, and you can see his energy and his presence inside the octagon affects his opponents.
Yeah.
And it was almost not quite as severe as like when Gaethje fought Nurmagomedov. But it was that same kind of reactionary. It was the same kind of draining energy that you saw. And you just saw, I mean, to his credit, we saw Thug Nasty trying.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like his efforts were more in desperation and frustration than anything. Yeah,
even just them standing in front of each other. There was so much like erratic movement from Bryce Mitchell, and then Jean Silva was just kind of relaxed.
He was feeling himself.
Everything was efficient. Like he fights like he's on his third playthrough of the game. Like he's already been in this world 3 or 4 times. Like this is his last like run. He's already unlocked all the extra trophies. Like he's just doing it for fun at this point.
He's just getting points so he can buy more weapons.
Yeah, exactly. More skins,
yes,
he looks so calm and comfortable in there, like you're saying, and just he commands the space. He's having fun. He's the definition of flow state.
God, I wish I could have that kind of fun in there.
It's
watching him walk out and just like take in the moment and like harness that energy. Normally, like when I'm walking out and I'm like, fuck.
Like, I'm about to fight. I'm about to get punched
like,
in the face.
shit,
I'm gonna punch
this just got real. And he is completely embracing it.
Yeah.
And using everything to his advantage. He's harnessing it.
Yeah.
Harness the good, block the bad.
We're like, oh, what happens if I win? What happens if I lose? And he's just like, what's up?
I know, I'm like, wow.
Hey, Bruce
so
Buffer,
impressive.
I love you.
No, it's so he is a special breed of crazy. I love it.
Oh, he's insane. So the fight was pretty one-sided, but Bryce did have moments like you said, but just going in there, getting mad that he didn't want to touch gloves, and then starting and just being at this really calm pace. He controlled like that distance in between them, so whether Bryce was pushing forward or backing up, he just kept that same distance that he wanted, and he would throw at the same time. And those were the things that really like connected and got Bryce off kilter. And then his takedown defense was really nasty. Like the guillotines that he threatened, they were real guillotines. Like he wasn't just grabbing out of desperation or like, oh shit, whoops. He had some serious like tightness on his neck, and you could see it when he finally got that ninja choke in the last round, or not in the last round, but in the last moments of the fight. It was really impressive how he's able to just get on the neck and really just like squeeze with all his might. He's not worried about gassing out. He lets go at the right times when he needs to build back up. It was just a really great display of just that, something that Jeremy Stevens has been saying a lot, the ring generalship. He's commanding the entire like cadence of what's going on in there.
Everything was completely intentional. There were no moments of wasted effort or movement. He was just very cool, calm, collected, and sure of himself. And it was a masterpiece.
I like, part of me thought that he was that when he was getting kicked, like the leg kicks, the calf kicks, I kind of felt like he was setting something up. Like he was reacting to the calf kicks way too much.
No, he is
and that's what he does to you, right?
He creates confusion.
Yeah. If that was a legit calf kick, my brain goes, no way that was legit because of who he is and what he's doing.
He's fucking with me.
He's fucking with me. No, I know
That
you're
can't be
not
true.
real.
Yeah.
He cries wolf too much. I'm like, you're not hurt. You're not hurt. He's gonna get knocked out. Like if he ever gets knocked out, no one's gonna believe he's knocked out.
They're like, he's coming back.
Yeah, they're like, he's just playing like Willy Foo. Like the judge jumped in, or the ref jumped in too soon. Like, you know. But yeah, he's one of these people who just, it would be a nightmare to fight him. Like a friggin' nightmare. And I love his little point to the spinner. He was like, hey, look at that. I thought he was pointing at like Trump or something. He was like, hey, look at that. And I don't know if Price looked, but the fact that he did that and then landed the spinning heel kick right afterwards, like, what an asshole.
I know. You'd hate to fight somebody like that. Like, fuck this guy.
How'd you like that ninja choke at the end?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. So I've never seen anyone finish it after they do the proper, like, roll through. It was like a gator roll is what you want to do to defend your neck from that. He halfway turned, but he got stuck.
Yeah, so the proper thing to do is you want to almost like exactly as you said, gator roll flop to your back because that alleviates the pressure and then you can start fighting it. It is a really tight choke initially to come on, but you can create space by doing that. And John Silva just cinched it up so quickly that Bryce Mitchell was out before he could even continue.
That was nasty.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of early stoppages, what did you think of Woodson and Dan Ige? Because a lot of people, including Woodson, are complaining. Everybody says it's the worst stoppage they've ever seen. I think we've seen worse. I think it was warranted up until the point where I saw how quickly Woodson stood up off of the single.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it was about 30 seconds of unanswered punches.
Yeah.
Just completely being on autopilot, trying to defend and shelling up. And so I think that the idea of the stoppage was warranted. But then when you saw how quickly Woodson got up, there was a question. I don't think the fight was going to get any better for Woodson, but I think,
you want to be able to go out on your shows.
You do. And you also want to see maybe an even more spectacular stoppage because it's Dan Ige. And he's capable of that. And a lot of people were saying that they thought Woodson was up 2 rounds. I didn't think he was. I still gave Ige the first 2. I don't know what the scorecard said, but you do want to give that fighter the opportunity in case those scorecards did reflect that. Mm-hmm. He could have been winning that fight, just lost that round.
Yeah, and so I looked it up, and I was kind of in the same boat. Like, they were close rounds. I thought Ige was doing enough, but the commentary was pretty heavy on Woodson's side.
I didn't agree with it.
Yeah,
his punches, he was going backwards. There were really, he did some nice kicks, but he was being pushed backwards, and the effectiveness of his punches, I just don't think were there.
Yeah, I felt like he was being super defensive and just kind of afraid of the power of Ige. He was looking for that knee on the come in, like when Ige would jump in to close the distance, he wanted to throw like a big knee up the center. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have worked, on that one punch that dropped him, the big overhand counter to the uppercut. But yeah, he was definitely wobbled. He was not answering punches. It was an accumulation, like a death of 1,000 cuts. We've seen a lot of stoppages like that where it's like, okay, you stop it, the ref gets in the middle, the guy is fine, but also you got your ass beat for the last 30 seconds. Like it might have been a 10-8 round if it went to decision. I think if I was Woodson and I hadn't seen the scorecards, I'd definitely be like, hey, give me a chance to get to the decision because there's a chance that I might have won. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird one. But I also think his frame definitely makes it more dramatic when he starts to get wobbled.
Yeah, it's very wacky, wavy, inflatable tube guy. It is. It's the body type. I mean, what is it? 6'2", 6'3" in the featherweight division. Yeah. That's insane.
And there's no meat on anything. He's like, he would be the most unsatisfying like human barbecue sacrifice. You know that movie? What was it called? The Green something. And they would barbecue the people and eat them.
Oh, you know yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like they would hate if it was his turn. Like they would have had to fat him up for a few months before they finally like fricassee him because that would be a really unsatisfying, gamey piece of kill.
No, if he drew the wrong card in Yellow Jackets, they would veto him. They'd be like, you know what? You're fine.
Just get out of here. Just stop eating our food because it's not doing anything.
This would be a pointless kill. And we need you to work for us. So
yeah, exactly. We need you to get the fruit off the high trees. Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm not really mad at the stoppage. Maybe it's because I'm an Ige fan too. Who knows? But I did feel like once Woodson fought someone with his credentials, with like the experience, with the heavy hitting, with the ability to be the shorter guy because he's usually the smaller guy in there, and having that power, like he knows where he has to zig and zag in order to get in and hit him on the noggin. And I think Woodson has relied on his length for so long that it's hard when someone's able to crush that distance. Yeah.
Did you hear Ige in the post-fight speech talking about how he had to spar the whole camp with light heavyweights, 185ers? Just could you imagine that kind of fight camp?
That sucks.
That would be terrible because there's nobody close to that weight class that is that stature. And you have to. Somebody that long that has that much range on you, you have to have that experience and that look before you get in the cage with someone. And that's really hard on your body.
Yeah, man.
That is so hard. I sparred because everybody was gone. I sparred with Alima and Lauren, who are
fun.
We're pretty good size flyweights and bantamweights. Yeah. And I'm telling you, my head hurt. It still kind of hurts.
How's
and
your
I
body
was tired.
Feeling? Dude, whenever I spar big girls, my shoulder blades from grabbing and moving them, like I feel like that hurts more than anything.
Yeah.
My hip bones, my ribs.
Everything hurt.
My ribs hurt if they sit on me.
Man,
it's not fun.
That's all right. I'm going for the takedown. I might not get, but I really need to take this down. So I feel like that sense of urgency was very compelling. It was very helpful for me. Just that kind of life and death urgency that you don't always get in training. You know, it was good.
I like my tactic when I'm sparring big girls and I can't take them down. I use the Chase Hooper attack. Oh, yeah, I just climb up them. Like
I got you.
Like a tree.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? This isn't working. I'm going to go up. You don't have to go down. I'm going to go up. There we go. And they can hold your weight because they're huge.
And we're doing like big glove sparring because if you're sparring big girls, you need big gloves because they hit pretty hard. You need a little bit more cushion.
Yeah.
I remember I went for one of my like kind of like sacrifice throws and I was like, this was really stupid. Like as I started, I was like, why?
You're like, I sacrificed too much.
Oh, why did I make these choices? This is my fault.
Was that one of those ones where they just kind of like,
yes,
just like settle right on top of you and you
know
get all the momentum of the throw?
Fuck yes, it was.
Nice.
Really, that was stupid.
Well,
I'm a fast learner though.
Yeah.
Fast learner.
There you go.
Got to learn the hard way though.
Good job, girl. Never again. At least not for the next couple of weeks. Oh, man. Well, what other fights have we not talked about on the main card?
Jandiroba and Yan, we should probably talk about before we do anything else.
Yes, we should. Jandiroba and Yan. I kind of saw it going that way, but there was a huge question mark in Xionan Yan's ability to defend Virna's takedowns.
That's where I saw
Yeah.
Jandiroba having difficulty, and she did not have any. She snatched up those singles like like I've never seen
little,
before.
Game people were playing.
Oh,
she'd be really good
that
at
was her whole training camp.
That foam game, yeah. Like, give me that leg.
I thought Yan. I've seen her in matchups in the past with pretty good grapplers, and I know that all grapplers are not the same. A lot of grapplers don't have the takedown experience and strength that Jandiroba does. But I thought that she's just so fast on the takedown defense. I thought she would be able to defend better. But, I mean, she has survivability on the ground, which we still saw, even though she was in some really hot water. It's just she could not keep Jandiroba off of her.
Yeah, no, they're both pretty big, and Virna, when we fought, like, there was a lot of just defending, grappling, moving around. But if you stay still, that's when she gets you. And that's one thing that Xionan Yan does well is, like, she defends the first initial takedown well. But if you chain that together, if you go to a second attack, then that's when she falls over. But she doesn't stay still. She doesn't stay flat. You can tell, like, her whole camp is focused around getting up, getting back to the feet, getting out of bad positions. So she did a good job with that. It's just Virna is on another level with her grappling. Like, she knows where you're going to go, and she jumps to it beforehand. She sets up the Kimura before it even seems like it's time to set it up, because she's rolling for that arm bar. She's rolling for the back position. She has a really good understanding of where she wants to go on the ground. And having that confidence in it makes you go hard for that takedown. Makes you, like, sell out on just getting attached to them. Because once she gets attached, it doesn't matter if Yan is on top or bottom. She's going to get on top eventually. And that's what you saw a lot in this fight. Like, Xionan Yan, I fought her too, like, way back in the day, and I almost subbed her, you know? So I always felt like if she were to fight a grappler who was able to get on top of her, the sub would come eventually, just because it's hard to catch up. Like, once you're already a professional, once you're already fighting these people, it's hard to close those gaps. Like, when you're both doing the same thing, you're both fighting for the UFC, you're both fighting the highest talents in the world. So it was interesting that she survived, but it's like, I wonder if Virna's kicking herself for not just, like, jumping on that armbar a little bit sooner, just to make a little more of an emphatic win to fight for that title.
I mean, either way, I think she is the number one contender for the belt. Either way, whether she subbed her or not, she has to be. It would be blasphemy if they gave it to anybody else.
Like Tatiana Suarez?
No. You know what? I'm happy that they gave her that opportunity. I am. I think that was a good call, because she's had such an up and down career with injuries and layoffs and stuff like that. So I was happy that she got it.
And it's likely that fight would have gone a similar way, where Suarez might have gotten the takedown, but Virna would have gotten the submission. Very,
very possible. How do we think Virna matches up to the champ?
It depends, you know. Like, people forget that Xionan Yan basically got submitted in the first round of of the fight versus
that
Weili.
Didn't happen.
They woke her up. It was like, hey, get over on your seat.
She was fine.
Hey, they got out the what do you call it? The smelling salts. It's a bath salt. It wasn't Florida. They got out the smelling salts, and they're like, hey, wake up, get to your corner. You're still in this fight. So I feel like Weili's grappling is underrated. I think it's not going to be as much of a scrap on the feet, because Virna just comes in crazy. It's that same grappler crazy striking shit. Like, didn't she throw something weird in this fight? I feel like she did like a spinning something.
She did a spinning thing.
Yeah.
But
and I'm like, what? And then she goes to the takedown. So I feel like she's going to be so confusing on the feet that the actual fight is going to happen in the clinch and is going to happen on the ground. But I also feel like Weili has closed that gap better than anybody else, mostly because she has to. Like, strawweight division is a division full of high-level grapplers, and she's been able to stay on top because she's been working hard on that grappling, where you're seeing her almost submit people who she never would have when she first got into the UFC.
I think she's closed a lot of gaps. I think she has the confidence and the awareness and understanding in her grappling to compete with anybody, even a top grappler like Jandiroba. I think that it would be the wisest game plan. No, I still think that it would be wise of her to keep it striking, because that is still where Virna is not as strong. She is a complete MMA fighter, but her strikes are still to set up a takedown. So they don't have that same presence. They don't have that same ability to keep somebody honest and create fear in the strikes. It can create confusion. But I think that it would still be smart for Weili to play that MMA game and mix the striking and the grappling and, maybe break her down before she starts trying to prove a point with her grappling.
I mean, she proved a point with Suarez.
Yes,
yeah,
she did, but Suarez doesn't have that same jiu-jitsu flow, that same threat from any position.
She does. I think we just haven't seen it because usually her first attack works.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see her flowing and her grappling, like you can tell that she does have that like jiu-jitsu mind when it comes to looking for submissions and attacking from different areas, but she hunts for the guillotine. Like the guillotine is her go-to. And I think like we saw some of the shit that that Virna does when Weili fought Carla. She got her with that nice like crucifix to the single arm like or rear naked choke. So I feel like Weili has what it takes to threaten on the ground, and that helps her overall game plan. Like that's why she was so dominant over Tatiana Suarez, because she didn't just go, I gotta keep it standing. She was like, I could fuck her up anywhere, and I'm going to, and I'm just gonna go with what I see. It's kind of like the John Silva thing, she's very much in the moment when she fights. I think the roughest fight she had was Xionan Yan because there was so much happening on the feet. Like she was getting dropped. She was getting wobbled, and she had to take it to the ground. I feel like she's focused so much on her grappling because she's gone through so many wars, and she can't take that stand-up attack anymore. And, like, if Virna is able to throw up something hard, I think she could do something with it. Like, she threw a head kick that looked slick. I was like, what? When did that happen?
Who's that?
No, I think if anything, Virna can go in there and throw haymakers just because she knows if she falls over, if she gets off balance, she's where she wants to be. So I feel like for Weili, the overall game, just being well-rounded like she's been in all of her title defenses, will be the best way to defeat someone like Virna, as opposed to just like staying on the feet, because that's when Virna does her best work, when people are afraid of what she's going to do when she level changes.
Sure, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And then we didn't really talk about our boy Dominic Reyes, but he really looks like he's gone in a time machine.
I know, he's had a resurgence, and it's really nice to see somebody be able to dig themselves out of that tough spot.
Yeah,
I love seeing it, rooting for him, and what could possibly be next for him. It puts him back into the conversation.
For sure. I'd like to see him keep picking off guys, kind of do the same thing that he did before he got to the John Jones fight, because I feel like at the same time, you don't want to rush and to go into the next killer fight. Like, I would hate if his next fight was like the winner of Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. You know what I mean? Like, that just sounds like you're going to take all that progress that you made and put the brain damage right back in your face.
Just roll the dice on it.
Yeah.
Just burn it down.
Let's see what happens. I mean, it would be cool to see him fight Johnny Walker. I feel like
that wouldn't be fair.
Walker is kind of in the spot that Reyes was before he got on his streak. So I feel like that would be at least fair in that sense.
I don't want to see Johnny Walker fights anytime soon. It's one of those things we talked about earlier. Volkanovski had 2 bad knockouts and he sat out for a year. That's what your brain and your body require.
Yeah.
And for Johnny Walker, I think that he has gotten, so many consecutive knockouts that it would be prudent for him to sit out for a bit.
Well, his last fight was about a year ago. His last fight was June 2024. So we're almost there.
A little bit longer, Betty. Just a little bit longer, please.
I mean, Reyes just fought, so he's probably going to want some time off too. But I feel like that might line up well, and I think it would be something that both of them want, just because Johnny Walker is going to be looking at Reyes' skid and seeing that as an opportunity, and same with Reyes. So that might be something that they set up. Or maybe he gets to climb the rankings a little bit more. Maybe go after someone like Jan Blachowicz, which would be a big jump. But as we saw with Carlos Ulberg, you can go after the old king and really get a huge bump in your status if you're able to slay him.
You can match him up against Ulberg.
Ooh, yeah. You want to see him die. Give him Ulberg.
No.
How dare he beat Jan? That was a robbery. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that plays out, because Reyes does really well when people come forward. Ulberg's not going to do that at all. So that might be an interesting puzzle for him to solve. Yeah. So what's been going on with you? There was a lot of crazy news that dropped midweek with the GFL, and maybe want to break down all the craziness. If there's a light at the end of the tunnel, what's been happening?
I don't know.
You still went to big girl sparring, so I'm proud of you. You're
well, you know what?
I'm still gonna train.
You know what? Them. There's our manager just told me hey, don't burn it down just yet. Just give it a few days. Let's get more information. And so there's an email circulating with a new structure and just kind of more information. I haven't seen it yet though. Oh. From what I've heard is they're, giving people the option to opt out of their contracts, because there are a lot of people getting paid really stupid amount of money,
which is probably why they couldn't put the purse into the fucking athletic commission's thing for the fight card that was supposed to happen in 2 weeks.
No, not 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
It's still a month away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be May 24th, 25th.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're still quite a ways away. There's a lot of time.
I thought it was 2 weeks that they had to have the money available in the bond.
So they were supposed to put the bond in recently, and that's what stimulated this conversation.
Oh, okay.
So apparently one of, the primary backer of the show ghosted, pulled out, which is kind of crazy to me. Where's the paperwork? How are they not going after him? Sue him.
Probably in another country.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he got hit
maybe with a tariff
pretty hard by the stock markets and stuff like that. So he wanted to pull his money. Who knows the reasoning? Who knows what's going on with that? I don't know, and I don't really want to speculate. So what I do know is they're trying to move the card yet again to the Florida, which was going to be the date and location of the second card.
Okay.
So they're just trying to move it there again. And if you guys know anything about Florida, it's much easier to run a show in Florida than it is California. So we'll see. I think there's going to be different structuring. I think there's going to be new information in this email that I have not seen yet. So I'm just kind of enjoying training. I haven't enjoyed training in a bit. So I'm, just doing that, enjoying it, having fun. And then we'll see what happens,
right.
With the information, I'll make a decision.
Yeah. So you haven't opted out yet, but you're just kind of seeing how everything plays out?
Yeah. I need more information. How can I make a decision if I don't have all of the information?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also do want to say that just it's been pretty disappointing with how people are really rooting for this thing to fail. And I'm not surprised by it, because that would mean that I, have expectations of people's behavior. But it is disappointing. I just want people to, root for fighters to have opportunities and success, and for a new organization to be able to blossom into something that they're trying to do. So it would just be nice to get more support than naysayers. I know that it was, a lot of expectation and a lot of like big promises, and they seemed outlandish to people, but still you want to root for things to succeed.
Yeah, I think it was just an easy target. It's like when Ronda Rousey got knocked out. Everyone was like, "Ha! That's what you get for thinking you're great."
Yeah. How dare she?
How dare you have confidence and think that you can outbox Mayweather?
Yeah.
It's like one of those easy targets that they were doing so much different and so much that seemed like a bad idea, like with the huge fight purses and the salaries and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, well, these are the fight purses that we feel like the UFC should be providing.
Yeah.
With these, this is what we've been asking for a long time. They were also offering healthcare and shares of the company and all these other things that we've always been like, oh, it'd be really great if the UFC did these things. A lot of people said their contracts are more than they've ever gotten paid for a fight in the UFC or wherever they were coming from, Bellator, One FC. So, or I don't know if there's any one people, but it's a huge jump, a huge paycheck, and you want to believe that it's going to work out. You want to believe that, okay, this is where MMA is going. We're starting to get like what we're supposed to be getting as professional athletes. We're starting to get like a bigger cut of the pie. But then when it doesn't work out, then people are like, well, that was too good to be true
Told you
anyway.
so. No, it's just
too good to be true. And it is. But if it went down, I think people would have been ecstatic for everyone. They probably still would have been like, okay, well, they got one show out, but we'll see if they get another one going. But I think people would have been happy for everyone getting paid.
Of course. And I was cautiously optimistic, a new show, big promises and stuff like that, but still happy to try and be a part of it and, see what happens with it. The thing is, there are no other opportunities in the fight world, really. Not that there are no other, but there are very limited options. I mean, there's
for strawweights, there's Invicta, strawweights and atomweights, and there's One FC.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to competing at atomweight. I've really wanted that for myself. I've always felt more confident and just happier to compete at that weight class. I think it's more natural to me. So I was happy to kind of, end my career with that. But if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, got to figure something else. I just need more information at this point.
Man. Well, hopefully they get their shit together.
We'll see. I think there will be more news coming out this week. I think I'll have my decision made, and then I will report back.
Yes, you'll get the lowdown on the down low. I was also out and doing stuff with a different FL. The PFL, not the GFL. Just out to support our friend and teammate Jena Bishop, and she was able to get a big win over Kana Watanabe. It was a crazy fucking fight.
It was. And you know what? She showed so much grit, technique. She showed new wrinkles to her game, new confidence. So it was really cool to watch. I'm really happy that she got the victory and just, fought a hard-fought fight against a tough opponent.
Yeah, it was. I think there were like a couple people going, oh, I don't know, like if that was the right decision, but like it was the right decision. Like that, you must be mistaking her for me, who doesn't win obvious decisions. But it was a really good fight. There were a couple moments where like, oh, it looked like she got hurt in the first round, but the accumulation of damage that she made in that first round after and before it, I felt like she won all 3 rounds. But there's always that doubt when it's not a dominant round. And I was happy that the 3rd round was so dominant, just kind of putting a button on the entire performance. But man, that was crazy. And I was surprised that Kana did not want to mess around on the ground at all, because every other grappler that she's fought, she's been comfortable pushing that pace on the ground. She finally learned her lesson when she got subbed by Liz and was like, okay, Not gonna do that again.
Try a new tactic.
Let's stay on the feet. Yeah.
And I mean, with her frame, the size difference, the body, the body difference, I think it would be an obvious kind of strategy to like work that range, to keep it standing a little bit longer, break the opponent down, and then start trying to force the grappling.
Yeah, she's a bit long and big, and it's surprising that she hasn't tried to do that. But I think she's gotten wobbled a lot in the past, and so she's banked on getting quickly to that takedown, like not even playing around on the ground, just shooting right away. And this fight, she tried something a little different, and it made for a much more exciting fight for sure. And then did you watch any of the other fights? Liz Carmouche ended up destroying her opponent, just like body shot and then just Donkey Kong smash on the ground.
No, I checked out.
It was too much. I forced myself to watch anything after Jena's fight because, like, afterwards you just have this dump.
I'm like, I'm good.
Yes,
I'm good. There was a male fight right after, and I watched that one. And it was
Jake Hadley?
Yeah, Hadley.
Yeah.
He got a kind of a modified twister-ish kind of.
It's called a Scottish twister. I'm going to ask Adam to teach me that. You think they learned it in like their grade school?
Grade school.
Yeah,
that's how all the fights end in the schoolyard.
Yeah. Oh, man.
They couldn't quite get that schoolyard like headlock. So
they usually start it with a headbutt.
Definitely.
Started with the
very
headbutt.
Scottish.
They fall over, you land in that position, and then hit the Scottish twister right there. Yeah. So, that was nasty. I got video of it so I can figure out how it's done because it was a weird one. I've never seen that before.
It was a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. But he had a lot of people from his team, from the British side of the pond out there. Leon Edwards was there, his brother, who I think is fighting next week. And then Mark DeCassie was there too, who's also fighting next week. So he had a good little crew out there rooting him on. And it was cute to see the British boys all getting all crazy.
So cute.
Throw the right hand. Throw the right hand, bruv. There you go. There you go, bruv. Hit him, Jake. Yeah, it was really cute. I'm like, oh, look at them. Getting all excited. They're probably laughing at me, too.
Nah.
Going crazy.
Nah.
Going crazy for my girl. So that should be interesting. The next tier of the tournament for Jena is, I think, June? Mm-hmm. June or July? I don't know. Somewhere. It's somewhere in about 9 weeks. So you guys might be lining up for fight camp again.
We'll see. I'll let you know in a few days what's going on.
More big girl sparring for Jess.
Yay.
Let's go. Well, there are some crazy things happening in the news that you saw.
Which one? We got
time for like one or two.
Okay, so we have this one. This one has been circulating a bit, and it just, as I get closer to the end of my professional fighting career, this kind of stuff just kind of resonates with me a bit. It's Oleinik. He just got KO'd in the BKFC debut, and he is one of those fighters that is just, in his 40s, and he is still having to fight because he has nothing.
Oh.
And this is, just a cautionary tale. It's a sad story about how people can't necessarily sustain a living because they've poured their heart and soul into fighting, and they don't have any other options. He went through a divorce. He's
47 now?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And so he took a fight in BKFC, and he ended up getting knocked out pretty badly. And it resonates with me because, there's always that oh, shit, what am I going to do when I retire? What is everybody else going to do when they retire? I know I have options, and I've been working on setting myself up, but still, it is still just, it's kind of scary, and I know everybody deals with, entering a new chapter and life transitions and stuff like that. But this one just it hits home a little bit.
Yeah, it's rough because Oleinik, he's not just a fighter that's been around. Like, he's headline fight cards, you know, like in the UFC and outside of the UFC. So he's one of those guys where you would want him to be taken care of because he built a lot of careers. He built like the weight class. He was just one of those names that if he didn't exist, a lot of other big stars wouldn't exist either. They wouldn't have been on the radar. I mean, that's why that lawsuit is happening, right?
Yeah.
To kind of right that wrong, but it's still the money that's coming through isn't life-changing.
You can't live off of that money. It'll get you out of a hole for a minute. It may give you a little room to breathe. A couple payments on the credit card. Yeah, exactly. But it's scary. So let this be a kind of a cautionary tale. And I hope that everyone uses their time in MMA, and their platform from it to, create something else that's more sustaining.
Yeah, and you kind of got to start thinking about that early. Like when we started this podcast, it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. It was, how many years ago was it?
Like 8.
Damn. So 8 years ago, we said we should probably start learning how to talk on camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that's something that you can transition into, and it's a needed role. You see how successful the few women who do it in the MMA sphere become. If you're good at it, there's a space for it. But there aren't many people who are good at it. And luckily we've been working on this for a while, and hopefully that comes across in this episode versus our first one 8 years ago. But it takes practice and learning about the fighters and learning the history of everyone and being able to recall things that don't necessarily affect you, but you have to know about it because this is the sport that you're talking about. It's all tough, and most fighters that have transitioned into like Aleksei Oleinik's age are dealing with that, where they have to do a bunch of other stuff to make ends meet, including fighting and giving yourself more brain damage. Mm-hmm. So that's rough. Yeah,
it's just kind of scary if you think about it, but also hopefully, like, to everyone else, it's motivating when you see stories like this to, figure other things out. There's so many opportunities that open up from this platform. And, it's just, it's up to you to seize those opportunities and create them for yourself.
But it's hard to see too, right? Like,
for sure.
Like what? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like your future almost has to be tied in with MMA, because if it isn't, then you're like, what am I good at? I've spent every moment of my life becoming good at MMA. Mm-hmm. I can't transition that into like working at a restaurant, like going back to the office, crunching numbers for the man. Like we a lot of us feel useless once we leave this stage of our life where we're just using our bodies to make money.
Yeah.
Be a stripper. Supposed to do it the other way around. Maybe. Stripper first, then MMA career.
It's a transitionary thing. It's just, I guess it comes down to, just being able to pivot and switch mindset and figure out where you want to go. And I feel like anybody who is in this sport has so many amazing tools and abilities, like dedication, perseverance, grit, all of these things that are necessary to be successful in all avenues of life. So I feel like there are not necessarily wasted efforts. Something can transition. You just have to, be open to it.
TED Talks.
Yes. Get on them TED Talks.
Do that.
Audiobooks, because I don't read.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you wanted to pop on before we pop out of here?
Pop off. We can pop off if you like.
Let's pop off.
All right.
This has been another Two Straws. We will talk to you next week. We'll see what Jess is gonna do. She's gonna keep big girl sparring for her little girl spot on GFL. Hopefully, I'll have news soon, but I probably won't, so I'll just complain about it.
Wah.
They're keeping me away from Trump. God damn it.
You love him
Keep
now.
me away from him. I can't, wave at him with one of my fingers. Let you guess which one. All right, guys, it's been another Two Straws. We'll see you next time.
Bye.